like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to Diorpop. Have you ever noticed how the most meaningful moments are rarely the loud ones? Not the moments announced in advance. Not the ones designed to go viral. But the quiet ones. The moments that pass softly, yet stay with you long after. At Diorpop, we don't chase noise. We pay attention to what lingers. To what is felt, not forced. To the emotions hidden between glances, pauses, and shared silence. And today, those emotions live quietly. Within new images of Jimin and Jungkook, captured in Jin's original digital code Photobook in Gojang, where nothing is exaggerated, yet everything feels deeply personal. So take a breath. Slow down with us. And let's step into a moment that doesn't ask to be explained, only felt. There is something undeniably different about the new photos of Jimin and Jungkook revealed through Jin's original digital code Photobook in Gojang. It isn't just the soft lighting, or the calm scenery, or the carefully framed composition. It's the quiet that feels alive between them, a quiet that seems to speak louder than words. Like a secret gently pressed between pages, waiting for the right heart to notice it. In Gojang, the air feels slow, unhurried. The sky isn't overwhelmingly blue, but bright enough to reflect a gentle glow in their eyes. Jimin stands with a familiar calm, warm, steady, and emotionally open, while Jungkook remains close beside him, carrying an honesty in his presence, as if he has never truly learned how to hide himself from the person he trusts most. In the narrow space they share, there is an unmistakable sense of safety. These photos are not about grand poses or dramatic expressions. In fact, their power lies in how small and simple everything feels. The way their shoulders align, as if sharing space has long become second nature. The way Jungkook's gaze seems to drift toward Jimin, not to be seen, not to perform, but like an old habit formed through years of quiet attention. And Jimin, with a soft smile that barely registers on camera, looks like someone who understands exactly what that gaze means. In one frame, the light falls perfectly across Jimin's face, highlighting an expression that feels both gentle and vulnerable. Jungkook stands nearby, close enough to notice the smallest change, close enough to feel without touching. There is no obvious physical contact, yet their presence feels intertwined. As if the distance between them is merely formal, never emotional. As if they are already sharing the same story, even before the shutter clicks. Gojang becomes a silent witness to a language only they seem to speak. A language without words, without demands, without the need for explanation. It exists in the way they stand, in the way they breathe within the same space. In how Jungkook appears calmer when Jimin is beside him, and how Jimin seems braver simply because Jungkook is there. This photobook feels like an invitation to slow down. To stop searching for spectacle and instead truly look. Not with eyes that crave noise, but with a heart willing to feel. Because in every frame, there is warmth that isn't manufactured. Comfort that only grows from time, trust, and shared history. Jimin and Jungkook don't need to try to look close. Their closeness already exists, flowing naturally, quietly. Like two different notes that always find the same harmony. Like two stories that grow side by side, filling each other's silences without ever needing to ask. In one photo, Jungkook tilts his head slightly downward, his expression thoughtful and soft. Jimin stands not far from him, calm and grounded, as if silently reassuring him that everything is okay. No dialogue is captured, yet it's easy to imagine the silence they share, a silence that doesn't feel awkward, but soothing. The romance here isn't loud. It doesn't demand definition. It lives in presence. In familiarity. In the choice to stay, even as the world beyond the frame continues to rush forward. This isn't a love story that insists on being explained. It simply asks to be felt. Gojang, in its simplicity, becomes the perfect setting for this gentle narrative. There are no overwhelming spotlights, no distractions pulling attention away. Just two people standing in the same moment, in the same place, carrying emotions that quietly connect. As the pages of the photo book turn, the feeling doesn't fade. It lingers, like an echo that refuses to disappear. Each photo adds another layer to the same story, a story about trust, about comfort, about a bond that grows slowly but steadily. Jimin and Jungkook look like two people who understand that the world can change at any moment, yet still choose to find each other again in the smallest of moments. In silence. In glances. In distances so small they almost don't exist. And perhaps that is what makes these photos feel so special. They are not trying to be anything. They are simply being themselves, together, in a way that feels gentle, honest, and deeply human. But the story in Gojang doesn't end there. The longer these photos are observed, the clearer it becomes that another emotional layer rests quietly beneath the surface. The way Jimin's posture subtly leans, as if his body instinctively adjusts to Jungkook's presence. The way Jungkook appears relaxed, unguarded, like someone who doesn't feel the need to protect himself when he is with the person he trusts completely. There is a softness here that cannot be rehearsed. Not a softness learned for the camera, but one shaped by habit. By years of sharing space, time, and perhaps the same silence. In Gojang, that silence feels full, not empty. It carries emotion without ever naming it. In another frame, Jungkook's eyes look warm, almost serene. He isn't looking at the camera, but at something just beyond it, or someone. And it's easy to imagine that what he's searching for is the same presence that has always grounded him. Jimin, calm and composed, feels like an anchor. Someone who makes everything feel steady simply by standing nearby. The romance between them lies in what remains unseen, in what they choose not to display. There are no exaggerated gestures, no dramatic declarations. Only understanding. Only care that exists without being requested. Like two people who have been through too much together to need proof. Gojang offers honesty. Its open space and quiet atmosphere allow their emotions to breathe. Here, Jimin and Jungkook appear not as global idols under constant observation, but as two people sharing a moment. A moment that may be brief, yet leaves a lasting impression. There is an intimacy in the way they share time. An intimacy that doesn't rely on touch, but on presence. Jungkook standing just a little closer than necessary. Jimin not pulling away, perhaps even welcoming it. As if that distance has already been agreed upon without words. This photo book feels like a frozen pause in time. A breath taken in the middle of an endlessly moving life. And within that pause, Jimin and Jungkook find the same rhythm. Slow, steady. The longer the pages are turned, the more it becomes clear that what we are witnessing is not just visual beauty. There is an emotional narrative captured within these frames. A story about how two people can support each other simply by existing side by side. About how love, if that is what this is, does not need to be loud to be real. Jimin carries a quiet kind of calm. There is something in his expression that suggests understanding, the weight of the world acknowledged, yet met with warmth. And Jungkook, beside him, looks like someone who has found a place where he is allowed to rest. Where he can be tired. Where he can be silent. Where he can simply be. In several photos, the light seems to fall between them, creating soft shadows that overlap, as if even nature itself is collaborating to emphasize their closeness. There are no sharp lines separating them. Everything blends. This bond doesn't feel built on grand moments, but on thousands of small ones. On standing together. On choosing each other again and again. On trust that grows quietly, but deeply. Gojang may be just one place among many they have visited. Yet through this photo book, it becomes a symbol. A symbol of calm. Of pause. Of a space where they are allowed to exist without explanation. The romance between Jimin and Jungkook here feels mature. Unrushed. Grounded. A romance that understands togetherness isn't about being seen, but about being there, even when no one is watching. And that may be why these photos linger long after the page is turned. They don't tell us what to believe. They simply invite us to feel, and allow that feeling to stay. At the end of the photo book, the warmth remains. Like a quiet echo in the chest. like a memory that refuses to be reduced to words. Jimin and Jungkook, in Gojang, between the pages of Jin's original digital code Photobook, look like two people who know the world will continue to change. But within that change, they have found something constant. Something gentle. Something chosen. And as long as these images exist, as long as that moment is preserved, this story will continue, soft, silent, and full of feeling. Sometimes, the quiet moments stay the longest. And in Gojang, between the pages of that photo book, Jimin and Jungkook remind us that closeness doesn't need to be loud to be real. Thank you for slowing down with us here at Diorpop. Until the next moment, felt not forced.